Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are excited that you all are joining us today for Co-working Live with Red Worldwide. Today is Wednesday, and we are so excited for being able to have another time to talk about creativity, innovation, and how it affects us in business. And so we're going to kind of flip the script just a little bit today because we had an event last night on wealth preservation and here in the Bay Area, which is where I am currently today. And so there were some participants who are actually on the line this morning, and we have some reactions and responses to what they learned. And so I just wanted them to share that because just in case you're thinking about attending one of our in-person events or online events, you can get from those who are in the room their experience and what it is that you could possibly be experiencing if you decide to attend. So with that said, I am going to add Danita Taylor of Tailored Creation. Did I say that correctly, Danita?
Yes.
Okay, and so good morning, Danita, and thank you so much for coming last night and for being on this morning. You have always, since you've been coming to our co-working sessions, have been a very, very vocal part of what we do, and we're excited about that
I
because,
am.
you bring a lot of great value to the group here, and so that's amazing. And so I see David Garcia also popped in, and I want to thank him for being with us yesterday again. The video is amazing, David. It's going to go up today, so we're excited about that. But with that said, Danita, tell us a little bit about your experience last night.
So I come on co-working every morning, right? And I really, really love being on here, and it's such a wealth of information. I mean, so many things that I've thought about, but not able to bring to fruition. And so being on co-working, I get that. I know where to go, how to get those documents, because I'm not the one to do the documents. My best friend is the one to do the documents, but I know who to come to now to get those documents done and what the documents are. And with me to be able to trust that these people or that you guys, Red Worldwide, are actually providing an honest product. So that's what keeps me coming to the co-working. But when you came last night to actually see you and be there, I felt like I got so much more. It's just something about being in the room that makes you feel so much different. So I was taking notes. I'll just give you a couple of highlights. The value of money and that being a language and an expression, it just blew my mind because the way you broke it down and to the value of money, how if you go into a grocery store and you have $500, that's all you can buy is $500. But if you take that $500 and put it somewhere else, it can create generational wealth, right? If you put it in the right vehicle. And so I'm like, that is so awesome. It's so awesome that to look at money, I think one of the people that were there were talking about mindsets, right? Changing your mindset to look at things differently than what you were brought up with. So that was really important to me. I too went through some things with my mother's trust, and I didn't know what a trust was. And it was exactly what you were saying, where everything was in there, all the instructions to what she wanted. She put her houses in there, her bank accounts in there, and there was instructions left. So now I understand that in a whole, being in the room, seeing everything, and it makes sense and lets me know that I need to do those same things. I want to do those same things. What I didn't know was that it can grow money. There's different trusts that do different things. And so me feeling like, oh, here I am at 49, I have to do something quick, right? To get this ball rolling. So by the time I'm ready for retirement, and I was just blown away with the amount of information that was given. And so financial capacity, again, mindset, right? Complete just mindset. We need to um, change our mindset. That I was really, really, that's where I was sitting in the room and I'm like, mindset, complete mindset, right? And then trust and allowing them to work for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm just and then even to know what all the different trusts were. I had no idea all this stuff was there. So now
Mm.
to know that it's there and to be able to trust the people who are presenting the product, I'm so excited to get started. I'm so excited to get started. So I just thank you so much for all the information and for being able to know that you'll be there to walk it out with me. So thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Danita.
much.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you were able to be in attendance. And I'm really excited about the fact that you learned something of value,
Mhm.
that you can apply to your family. Because the goal of this event last night was really focused on families. It was just, a lot of times we focused a lot on businesses. And because our focus was on helping someone who's in business or to get started in business, to see how they could take their commercial activity and utilize estate planning to, help them get started. Which, a lot of us, we pass by McDonald's every day, not realizing that someone got started by using an insurance policy, and so they used their families, what was there for their family to actually get started in business. But there are many people that have used the trust and insurance to not just get started, but to protect their families, to insulate the family, and make sure that nothing that they're doing in business affects the family in a negative way. And so it's really important when you understand how to insulate your family, and that one of the best things that you can do to protect your family is to leave instructions or to create instructions. So just like we talk about standard operating procedures in business, there ought to be some procedures and instructions that you put in place, for the family so that it has the ability to run like a well-oiled machine as well. It would be a travesty for someone to be very successful in business and to not put things together for their family in the same way. And so I know David Garcia, I just want you to say about 2 minutes, David, on that just by itself, because I know that you also have, spent a lot of time making sure that your family is, able to have those things in place as well. So, if you got 2 minutes for us, please, David, give us that. You there? We can't hear you. You're muted. Okay. We'll come back to him in a little bit. But the thing is that, and I just think it's important, and I know that we highlighted, actually, Crystal, we highlighted you and Tommy toward the end of the meeting. I used you kind of as a case study in talking about how families can sometimes make decisions to, really set up generational wealth. And I talked about how you guys have your books that are coming out and your process about generational wealth ahead. And that is so important as well. Can you share just a little bit about that? And you don't have to go on camera, but if you could just share just a little bit about that this morning, I would really appreciate it. Okay, I don't know if people are having problems unmuting their mics. Hmm. Yeah, I think we have some issues here with the mics. I'm not sure what's going on, but it seems as though people are not able to unmute. Okay, not a problem. We'll come back around to this on a different day. But what we're going to jump into right now is we're going to go into talking about creativity and business, but we really are going to focus more on mindset today because I have come to understand that a lot of people, don't really think about how important, being able to see things from a certain perspective is. And what has happened for me in business is everything is possible as long as I'm able to, see it happen. And so many, many times there have been things that I wanted to do in business. And I didn't necessarily see a way to make it happen, but I saw that it could happen. And as a result of that, that mindset helped me to be able to plan and ultimately execute, the things that I wanted to do. And so we want to kind of look at today what it takes for a person to just kind of change their mindset and from an impossibility mindset to it's possible mindset, when it comes to a business concept. We've looked at, how we could position ourselves in business to iterate or for that matter have a proof of concept, but that's way down the road. Having proof of concept is after you actually have the idea and you're making the idea, come to mind. I mean, come to bear. What we're talking about now is the very rudiments of what has to happen inside of us so that we can be mindful of, how do we see something and create a solution, in our mind and begin to wrap the thoughts around it that need to be there so that we can actually bring that thing into fruition. And so this doesn't necessarily mean that you are starting a brand new business or for that matter, creating a brand new product. Sometimes this can just be iterating in what you're already doing that will bring something more powerful to bear. And for me, it's really, really kind of easy right now because, I've done this so much that having the ability to transform an idea into reality is something that is easy for me now. But when I first started, embarking upon the journey of, the dynamic world of innovation was not something that was at the forefront, of my mind. I tend to probably go along with the status quo in this. And what someone will tell you, if you have an idea, go and look and see if someone else is already doing it. Or there's all kinds of, thoughts and philosophies on this. Go see if it's really something that other people are doing in their business. If you're in insurance and nobody else is doing it, then it's probably something that doesn't need to be done. Or, you hear all of stuff. If you're a realtor and you are, out there on the fringe and doing something that's not inside the box, you probably want to look and see if it's legal. I mean, I've heard all of that, and what came for me as a really well-timed set of advice is that generally, when you see a problem and you have the mindset of creating a solution for the problem, then everything else will start coming into play when you start moving in that direction. So let's look at, and I talked about this once before, considering the invention of the wheel. Before there was a wheel, they were using something, but it was probably nowhere nearly as easy as the wheel. Uh, and so the thing that we have to understand is the printing press, the first airplane, the all of these things weren't just new gadgets. They were moments in time that redefined life on the earth. Okay. And so sometimes you might have a moment in time just with a tweak that you make to your internal components of how you do business every day. It may be that the thing that you have is not being done because nobody could understand how to get it to market or how to infuse it into their current business. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done. It means you need to explore. And so the having the mindset of an explorer is that, okay, let me see what this can be and let me see how it can be. And then I can start wrapping all of the other components around it for, how do I make sure that I'm doing it and being in compliance with every other law, or is there a new law that needs to be made about this thing? I can guarantee you before someone put an airplane in the sky, there were probably no laws about airplanes being in the sky because nobody had ever seen an airplane. But as soon as airplanes were a thing, something that had been creatively brought into um, the ecosystem of transportation, then of course new laws came out and new ways of thinking about air travel, actually became something. And so for you to feel like just because you might get pushback on your idea, or someone might be saying, how, is this legal or is this something that we can really do? I want you to stop and say, is this something so important that I'm willing to allow regulations to be put around it, allow anything else to come into being? If so, I need to keep moving. The importance of innovation today is really more crucial than ever. And I want you to really think about the fact that everything that we use in life, somebody had an idea to bring that thing into fruition. And so when we're thinking about things in that way, what are the things that you were created to bring to fruition? And are those things so important that you would be willing to, take on the responsibility, to get it to the market or to add it to whatever you're already doing? I love that, David, from impossible to I'm possible, right? Yes, I love that. And so having these, uh, thought processes and changing your mind about, what it is that you would like to do, can many times create for not just yourself, but the others that are watching you, your kids, your employees, your co-workers, other people who might be your mentees. They can see something of value. And it's so important for you to be able to do that. So let's kind of look at, these thoughts as, really the ideas and the transformative, processes to get the ideas in from an inside your head into reality as something very impactful. Not just the thing, but everything around the thing, everything that it takes to get it to market. It's really the spark that has ignited human process, and progress throughout history, and it shapes even our future today. And I know that I've kind of talked about this many times, but in terms of, wanting people to really think about what they have internally and bringing those things to market, bringing those ideas, not just, out to the forefront, but putting them to use. It's important that we see ourselves as a part of the whole world, not a part of just our small community or our neighborhood, but as a part of the world. We have complex global challenges, and there are things that we could be doing that could improve the quality of life for many of the people across the nation and across the world. So when you look at smartphones and renewable energy and AI and these innovative ideas that are currently shaping our sustainable connected world, you got to be thinking about, okay, what is it that I am doing, to leave my mark in the earth, not just in my family, but in the earth? Do I have something that I'm doing that will affect people's lives and I mean, with longevity? We are really witnessing a surge right now in the digital innovation space. There's so many different tech companies that are coming out with ways to make things easier, to make things safer, to create um, uh, access for people who haven't had access before. I saw something a few months ago that was so impressive to me, that there is a machine, and I've actually now seen them putting it in homes that can pull water out of the air. It can actually take the air and turn it into H2O. And by doing that, it's creating the ability for people who are in remote places, who have limited access to water that is clean. If these machines were in those spaces, people who previously had problems, and people who were dying because they didn't have access to clean water, now have a solution. Somebody created that. That was in someone's mind. And they had the ability to not just leave it in their mind, but to get it from here into a usable fashion. So now it's inexpensive enough that we can put it in a place where remotely people were not able to have access to this particular type of thing, and now they do. And so when you're thinking about life and what it is that you can, how you can impact the world, what it is that you have, I want you to be thinking about, okay, what is it that I am doing currently? Okay, that if I continue to do it, it could affect, you know, the whole world, just by me make this particular thing easier or different, because there may be someone else who has a family construct like yours, or they might be like you, and some system that you created, some process that you're doing could make things easier for them to stay alive. Okay. So, just thinking about it from that standpoint, it can sometimes give you the courage or the stick to itiveness to not just jump out there, but to keep going, to research, to find people to help you, to find people that can support you, and to help you make it a reality. Some of you all don't realize this, but Red Worldwide, we have a relationship with several organizations, and one organization is the University of Texas in Arlington, and that particular school they're a NIST partner. They're one of the organizations that are part of the school is a NIST partner. That means that they are set up with the Department of Commerce to take funds from the Department of Commerce and allow those funds to go to an individual to create products and bring those products to market. So someone who might need a prototype, or they might need FDA approval, or they might need some other process to happen to get their product to market, can do that because of this particular money. And so it functions like a grant. It doesn't come through us, it doesn't come to us. But if you're working with us, if we're coaching you and you're in one of our programs, then it qualifies you to get access to this $10,000 in engineering services. And then to get future engineering at, I think it's like $125 an hour, as opposed to like 300 and some odd dollars an hour. So I'm saying to you that there is a way. I know of another university that has a program that both of these programs are free. And if you qualify by working with a specific type of organization, you can gain access to having them help you to apply for the SBIR grant, the Small Business Innovation Research Grant through the United States of America. Okay. And so that grant at the federal level can provide you with, at the very first phase, $279,000 to get your idea to market. And so it's kind of a lot of opportunity right now. And if you have the right support, those opportunities can help you bring something amazing to market. With what we are seeing now with the blockchain and biotechnologies, and how people are now taking artificial intelligence and using it to make it so that doctors and nurses can get information faster, and people who are creating, writing code. You can use AI to write code, and something that would have taken me, several hours for me to write, code. Now I can do by just putting the prompts into AI and end up with half of an app being created, by the AI, and the other portion that I would need to do, I can do now in a lot less time. So I'm saying that this is not an age of buzzwords. These are things that are really happening, things that you can make happen, from out of your spirit, out of your thought process. So, how do we foster an innovative mindset? Okay, I've talked a lot about the thing. Now let's talk about the how. Well, innovation kind of starts with curiosity, the willingness to challenge the status quo, and to not be affected when people don't see it like you see it. I have had some times that I had to learn that there were things that I just couldn't share with everybody. When I was talking about starting this company that we are actually running right now, and have been now for 6 years, 7 years almost. And when I was thinking about starting the company, I mentioned it to someone that I thought was a good resource for me. And I mean, she shot it down from the name of it to everything else. She just couldn't see how that was going to garner any type of attention, and how anyone would pay any money to become a member of something like this. And aren't there other ones like this already out there? And, you're going to waste so much money trying to do this, and people aren't going to pay. And I mean, just all kinds of things. And if I had let anything, she said, stop me, then we wouldn't be in this meeting right now online. We would just not be here. And there are so many people like Danita Taylor that would not have been helped. We have to date worked with more than 385 people in that amount of time. And we're not talking about just giving them, I mean, we've had about 96, well, last year at last count, at the end of the year, we had about 9,600 interactions with people. Okay. But in terms of people that we actually work with to help them get a product to market, or to help them start their business, or to help them create, their processes and procedures, or any of those things, 385 is a lot of people in that amount of time for such a small team. And the thing that I want to say is, this is not to toot our horn, it's just to say that I would not be stopped. I was relentless about what I believed I was supposed to do. And when I explained that same concept to someone at the university, they were like, this is brilliant. I had one person with all of this knowledge and all of this schooling, and I mean, just all the experience in business, to tell me that there's no way, no one's going to pay for it, et cetera. And then to go to someone at the university, here I am in school and already kind of running the company. But when they asked me about the company and what we did, they began to tell me the brilliance of it, and how this is something that makes available to people, the types of services that they need in businesses at such a nominal cost, and there was nothing available in our area at that time like that we were first to market with some of the things that we did. And because of that, there was no comparison for it at the time. And so if I had let the person stop me, I wouldn't have gotten to that moment. Okay. Where I could actually hear someone weigh in on it. And then even in the middle of the pandemic, when everyone was closing their doors, I thought about closing our doors, because we had rents. We had lots of offices at that time, and a lot more people working with us. And I thought about, man, could we take everything online? And, and if we do take everything online, will it be sustainable? Okay. We were already online, but we were serving a lot of people in our office. When we had just gotten the office, people were starting to come to the office and they were used to coming to the office. And that did prevent, me from even thinking about being totally online at the time, because it was like, oh, wow, we have these different offices. We can, make sure that people get served in a proper manner. I never really thought, even though we were read worldwide, it didn't occur to me that being totally online would give us access to the entire world, and our services could be used by the entire world. So remember when I talked about iterating on top of your idea, it wasn't necessarily that I needed to change, or create a new company. It's that I needed to create a new process within my company that would expand the company so that we were able to reach people that we would never be reaching. And I thought going worldwide meant that we were going to be traveling from one country to another country. I never considered that worldwide meant that we were going to have people from other countries traveling to see us. So I am saying to you that fostering the innovative mindset begins with curiosity. It begins with asking questions. What could this look like? How could it impact, what I'm doing, what others are doing? How risky is it for me to do this? And is there a test market for it? How could I test my concept with a smaller group to see how well it works? Okay. What is it that I can do, to get a looks like, acts like prototype, without changing everything? Is there something I can do to test this thing in a way that is meaningful, that's going to provide me the answers that I need to fully launch it? Embracing the concept of lifelong learning can really help you as well, because one of the things that I did, different than a lot of people, but I decided that if I had a concept, where could I go to learn more about the concept, and where could I invest in myself to make sure that I was qualified to move that concept forward. Now, that's not everybody's way. That may be, the thought process may be something different than what you're used to. But let me just tell you, I have taken so many courses. 3 years ago, 3 or now maybe 4 years ago now, I made the decision that every month I would enroll myself in some new course. Now, this is, I mind you, I was already in the process, because this is 2024. So I was in school getting an MBA. So it's not like I didn't have enough to do, because I was running Red Worldwide and I was in school getting the MBA, and I was still operating in a pastoral capacity at the church where I was at the time. And so, with that said, there was a lot on my plate. Okay. And I had to think the things through to see, okay, how can I do it? What day can I do it? So what I did for myself, so that I could have the mindset of a lifelong learner, is I compartmentalized every concept that I had about business to down to milliseconds. In other words, I'm going to spend this much time working on this thing on this day. I had specific days that I did certain things. I went down to a 3-day work week so that I could make sure that I was in class on time, that I was studying the amount of time that I needed to study to get good grades. And then I also could have a day during the week that I worked on my own professional development and personal development. And it was on that day that I would do whatever course or whatever certification that I was going to do. And I had no idea that that was getting ready to become a way of life for me, because since that time, I have done, I finished the MBA, I did another master's degree. In that same year, I started another master's degree, finished it 12 months later, and then got into another master's program less than 12 months after that. And I'm in the double master's programs now. While I was doing that, I was nominated for a doctorate degree, an honorary doctorate degree that did qualify me, to do some other things, but it was work involved in that, because it wasn't like, hey, we're going to give you this honorary degree. it's an award, just show up. No, there was a type of thesis that was required. So I had to go to work in that area as well. And it was a constant process. But in that process, so much came out of it because they weren't just certifications for me to put some numbers or not numbers, I'm sorry, letters behind my name, but these were certifications that actually helped me answer the questions that I had asked. Could we do this? Let me go to class and learn about this to see if this is something we can add. And in that class, yes, I got the certification, but I got the knowledge to understand how we could infuse that into what we were already doing. Now, just those little tweaks allowed me to satisfy the curiosity with knowledge, and understanding what it was that could be done gave me solutions to some problems. So, as you're thinking about your mindset, what is it that you can do to foster your innovation? How can you create for yourself the ability to continuously iterate on your concepts, but also continuously add knowledge so that you have the capacity to put something new forward? Um, as we're looking about this and thinking about collaborating across all of the different types of disciplines and gaining new perspectives, I want to share one other thing that I did, to change or I should say, upgrade my mindset. Is I became more open to collaboration. I was very closed to collaboration for a long time because I had bad experiences and with partnerships and working with others. I found myself in a situation where, because I was not a good delegator and I was not a good team player, even though I added value to the team, I would offer my expertise to the team, I was not a good team player, you guys. I just wasn't. And the reason I know that this was a part of my better development, my professional development, is because what came out of it was not just an increase to my bottom line, but it was an expansion of services to people that I was working with. So let me give you an example of what I had to do to make myself a better collaborative partner. I had to understand that if we're collaborating, that means I'm putting in something and someone else is putting in something. And I have to be open to embrace what they bring, okay? And to seek to understand what they bring so that I can see how it adds value, as opposed to shooting it down in my mind as they're bringing it, thinking about all the ways that this could go wrong or how this doesn't really fit my ecosystem, or why would I even allow my clients to be exposed to something like this, and having this protective mommy thing going on that I had, for a long time with my clients. I really I needed to take a step back and to hear the full realm of what the collaborative partners were talking about, and see how, if there were guardrails that needed to be put around it, how can I help to add the guardrails? They had a great idea. The idea was very powerful. And there were some times that we had to test the ideas to make sure that it would work. But what I could add from my experience to their idea was the safety net, the ability to insulate, because that's where I'm great at that, and a lot of you guys have experienced that with me talking about trust and how do we protect our businesses. That's part of my ecosystem and how I am wired. So what I could add to someone else's thought process could be just giving us the ability to test it in a protected space, to pilot it in such a way that we had, informed decisions, instead of not just jumping out there, creating focus groups and polls and surveys to make sure we're getting as much information as possible before we launch this thing out there, and making sure that what it is that I am doing is not getting in the way, okay, of us getting the information and the data that we need from the utilizing it the first time or second time or whatever our pilot's going to be. Because sometimes that's a thing, our ability to work together with others sometimes is really skewed because of the fact that we have different systems and things that we've put in place to protect ourselves. So those things sometimes can get in the way of helping others. Well, with that said, I really want you to be thinking about what your thought process is. How can you be a great collaborator? What it is that you can do to make a cooperative process, something that is, beneficial, and that you do get good information from it. I see Crystal's placed some things in the chat. Personal development is your care or your core that will keep your fire going. Absolutely, Crystal. When you are constantly developing yourself and putting yourself in a position to be, in that total upgrade mode, it does put a fire under you, and it does excite you, and it does constantly call you to doing something good and something new, that will constantly bring others, value. She also said the key is applying the knowledge that is what gives you power. I've heard people say that knowledge is power, but I do agree with what Crystal is saying here. It's applied knowledge that's power, because when you don't apply the knowledge, then, it's just sitting on the side somewhere waiting to happen. But applied knowledge is power. And I've experienced that myself. Okay, well, as we conclude, I want you to remember that, innovation itself is not the exclusive place, for a genius to reign. It's not something that only people who have money can do. It's not something that only people who have, a lot of education can do. It is literally a path. And I want you to see it that way. It's a path that's open to all of us. We can all walk down the road of innovation. We can all walk down the road of creativity. And I really encourage you to embrace that innovative mindset. Don't be afraid of curiosity. Utilize those tools that I talked about today and dare to dream. And I know I don't mean to be cliche, because there are a lot of people that say dare to dream, but I'm serious. I mean, I want you to take like 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day and just sit there and dream. Think about things. Think about, something that you could do, or some place that you could be, or some solution that you have to a problem. I mean, really use that time, because this 15 minutes a day could put you on a trajectory to changing something for the lives of others forever. And so taking the time to really sit down and set everything else out and spend 15 minutes just being quiet and thinking through something powerful you can do, then write it down. Don't just let it go. I was so impressed when my husband and I came together. He used to have in his computer all of these different, um, uh, I want to say there were files, because he was using, but at that time he was in a computer that used Windows, and he had all of these different files, and each of the files had names of products or processes or books or screenplays or something else that he planned to do in the future. And, I thought about that. Was really impressive to me, because I'm like, gosh, this guy has a big vision, and I love that about him. And so I took that thought process, and in one of my computers, I just put file folders and didn't have anything in it yet. Okay. But names of things that I was going to do, and began to think about how I could bring those things into the earth realm. How can I bring this into fruition? And to give you a perfectly good view of that, when I was away, for the time that I was away, and began to think about Red Worldwide had a piece of paper with just the name of it on top of it. And some days I would go in my journal and write things down about it. And I still have this journal today. I have a sketchbook. And in the sketchbook, I sketched out what I wanted the logo to look like and all of these different things. And it was literally in my heart and mind for years before I ever brought it to fruition. But I tell you, when I got all of those things on paper, amazingly so, everything just began to come to me to bring it to the market, to bring it out into a place where other people can benefit from it. And so I am saying to you that that all came from my thoughts, my sitting there in the 15 minutes and just praying on it and thinking about it and how can I do it here and where could I, what could I do here? Do I need an office? Can I do it from my house? Can I do this? Can I do that? And those things began a process of me writing some circles on paper and talking about how I could do it and figuring out the answers to those questions got me to the place of where it was an actual company with real people that worked for us, worked with us in an office with, amazing, support. And so I'm saying to you that I didn't get there by tossing my idea. I got there by considering it. So Crystal's saying organization is imperative also for innovation to keep things in one place and to keep adding to what you have as it comes into thought. Absolutely. And so that's what I'm talking about right now. Get a journal. If you have an iPad, get one of the note-taking softwares like NoteShelf or Notability or OneNote or even using notes inside of your phone. If you have an iPhone, you can use notes inside of your phone. If you have an Android, you can use Memo. There are many different ways that you can begin to, put things around your idea, but just don't put it down and not go back to it. But when you put those things down, then I want you to, as something else comes, revisit it and begin to iterate on top of what you've done. Because in short order, something is going to happen where there's going to be a sense of urgency and you're going to want to get that thing to market. And you want to make sure you have all of the concepts and ideas and everything available for you to go and pull them out so that whoever your coach is, whoever your advisor is, your business consultant or whoever you're working with has the ability to assist you in getting it all the way to market or adding it to what you're already doing. Your mentor, whoever it is that you're working with to get your things to market, they can help you when they can see what you see. So I do want you to understand that innovation and creativity is a path that all of us can walk. And we can transform our ideas into realities that can really shape a better future for everyone. And I wanted to share that with you guys today on our Innovation Day. And I want to open up the line just for a few minutes for anybody that has a comment or a question, with regards to anything that we've talked about today. Any thoughts? Okay, so I don't
Well, I
know
was
whether
saying
people.
also, if you didn't have time to write, voice record yourself with your phone, since we always have our phones by us, and you can still organize those voice recordings on your phone too. Especially when you have those quick thoughts and you're driving, just record yourself.
Yes, that is so good. I've done that. I recorded like the first chapter of an entire book one time because the book came to me and then the first chapter was coming so fast and it's like, I don't want to miss this moment. I got to take advantage of this moment. I clicked on the memo and recorded the whole thing. So thank you for that, Crystal. I am so, sure that that's one of the best ways to make sure that we can memorialize our thoughts and our ideas is by using a recorder, and you have the best recorder in your hand. Okay. Your phone. Yeah. I see Alicia still on here, and I am so excited about some of the things that she has had and held in her heart. She was at an event that we had at the beginning of the month, our Q1 summit, and some of the people who were there, we were talking about innovation and ideas and what it was that they were going to bring to market. And she had such a great idea that I just cannot wait for her to, start working on and pushing it out there. But the one thing that I have to say, her idea was also spawned from something that was a solution to a problem. And many, many people, start that way. And so don't be afraid to turn your solutions into something that's sustainable and that you get paid for. Some people are like, okay, well, this is a solution, but is it right for me to get paid for doing this? And I would say probably yes, because people will pay you for things that they can't do themselves. And it's okay for you to receive remuneration for doing something for others, even though it might seem like it's a service. Services do bring, profits. And so it's totally fine for you to put something together in a way that is powerful, and even though it's a service, bringing it to market, could feed and shelter your family. And there are ways for you to do that with grace and with excellence, and to get it out there, and having everyone use it. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Well, this has been Red Worldwide's Co-working Line, and we are excited that you guys did come on with us today. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to be working on some tech stuff. So please come ready, because we're going to be introducing something, and I want you guys to try it while we're on the line. So it's going to be a hands-on type of party tomorrow. So come with your computers in hand, or a tablet, where I don't know it's going to work so well on a phone, but if you have access to a tablet device, or your laptop, or desktop, come with that available tomorrow, so that you'll have the opportunity to participate in our hands-on session that we're going to do at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we want you to be able to participate in a way that's meaningful. Okay, well, we'll see you again next time.